Weather is gorgeous today, absolutely stunning. I tried to film this Civic Type R a couple weeks ago, was it? And it was absolutely peeing down with rain. Today, it's highs of 24 degrees. Unbelievable. Summer is here in the UK. So, hello everybody, welcome to the video. We've got Tim today, and we are filming his Civic Type R. I am, if you've been watching the shorts, a complete JDM noob. And I think this is my first time in a Honda ever. So you're going to be, this is going to be a core memory, mate. Yeah. So tell me, how long have you had this?
Just over a year.
Okay. And what have you had before this?
The three previous generation Type Rs, all in the same red.
Okay, perfect. So you like red. Have you had anything else other than the Type Rs?
Yeah, I've had quite a few cars over the years, mostly JDM. I've had Mazda RX-7s, MX-5s, I'm into classic minis. So I've dabbled in a lot of different stuff.
So you're the perfect guy for me to learn about JDMs, etc., etc. So this is an FL5, right? This is the FL5 generation?
It is. It's the latest and the last of the...
You just said last. Are they not making any more?
Apparently not. This is going to be, well, Honda have confirmed that by 2025 that all of their cars are going to be at least hybrid. So
oh, wow.
We think this might be their last
proper...
Their last internal combustion engine car, at least.
Right, so it's front-wheel drive.
It is.
Engine...
2 litre, 4-cylinder.
Yep.
325 horsepower on the books, but
okay.
They're 335 horsepower after dynos.
Okay. Have you done any tuning to it? Should we have a look inside?
No tuning whatsoever, but it has got a few bolt-ons.
Okay, let's have a look. Oh, look at the red interior. We can touch on this in a second, but go on.
We pop in the bonnet?
Yeah, you pop it. Let's have a look. Look at that beauty. So, spotted the Venturi intake. Is that the only mod you've done?
From an engine bay perspective, yes. That, the Blitz strut bar, and
okay.
then obviously a Dream Automotive reservoir sock
right.
for JDM points.
Oh yeah, I've spotted the sock. So this is what, an old kind of joke that harks back to the old JDM?
Not necessarily a joke. I think it was more that the old school cars tended to have worse seals on the brake pressure fluid boxes, and whenever you were going around corners quickly, they would sort of leak a little bit. So we used to put socks on them. It's a JDM culture thing.
Got you.
You'll see various different socks, from spoon socks to Domo socks to God knows what else, but it's apparently gives you 5 horsepower.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
Okay, I'm sure we'll feel that later. And then the strut bar is a Blitz strut bar.
Yeah,
right?
Blitz strut bar, so mostly cosmetic, but it does help to strengthen the top turrets.
Right. Okay. And then the Venturi intake. Can you hear it? I mean, we'll experience it later.
Yeah. So the Venturis of old used to sound a little bit more raucous, but this Venturi is a little bit more subtle. I think it probably suits the car a little bit more.
Okay.
But the Venturi intake's made by Evolve and Bilal there. So Bilal spends a lot of time doing the air flow. Very, very clever man. And it will give you sort of 12 to 15 horsepower and 20 foot-pound of torque. Wow, okay.
And then are you planning on doing any other mods or anything?
No, so these cars are really good as they are out the box. I think there's a limit, sort of 380 to 400 horsepower before these cars start to break away from being a front-wheel drive car and too much power. Honda have got it right. They know that the power was right for this car, and taking it to sort of 370 is about as much as you would want to go to make it drivable. Yeah. Anything other than that, you're then bringing in other problems.
And I think we were saying off camera, you tuned your previous Type R, didn't you?
Yeah, so I've had all generations of Type Rs. I've had the FK2, both generations of the FK8 and the FL5. I tuned my FK2 with Dream Automotive all the way to 420 horsepower and 450 foot-pound of torque. And I was doing a lot of track days with that sort of power, and we realised quite quickly that was its limit. You tend to find them with so much power that you can't get the power down through the front wheels. Yeah. So it actually becomes sort of counterintuitive to going fast.
So you're going to leave this one stock then, really?
Yeah, I think with the 2 bolt-ons, obviously Honda have done such a good job with this car that the intercooler's already much better than it used to be, so an aftermarket intercooler's a harder thing to justify.
Right.
But just giving it the breathing mod of the Venturi and then a nice exhaust system to help it sound a bit better, because they do sound a bit like a Hoover without an exhaust system, just helps to give it a little bit more. And we've dynoed this at Dream at 374.
Very nice. And then you just mentioned track days. How many track days have you done?
Oh God, track days, countless. In this car, 7.
7 track days in what, 18 months?
Yes.
That's a lot. Fair play. So that's the front done. What else have you done? Have you done any other mods or anything?
No, so I have a set of track wheels where I change the tyres on those on a regular basis. Obviously, I don't like to use my road tyres, although I have done a Nürburgring on the MP4Ss, and they were an okay tyre.
Okay.
But yeah, if I go to track, I'll change the tyres to something a little bit more suitable. But I think it is as it is.
Yeah. And then you're running Michelin 4S tyres at the moment.
Yep.
Brembo brakes.
Yep. So I changed the pads for track as well. The OEM pads are very, very good. But having a second set of pads just basically means you can go to track. They're so easy to change the pads in these Brembo calipers that you whip the wheels off, change the pads, and you do the same to go home. And you've then got yourself a longevity on your standard tyres and pads, as well as having something fun for track.
Okay, and then we'll move around to the back before we have a look inside. The exhaust, you've got an exhaust on there, haven't you? Because it did sound quite
it's
fruity.
a big boy exhaust, yeah.
What have you done?
So it's a Miltech full non-resonated exhaust system, but it's actually valved. And the way in which Miltech have engineered this exhaust system is that it works with the standard ECU settings. So in this car, unlike the previous generation Type Rs, the valve is automated, so it changes on revs and on required back pressure. So this exhaust system does the same. It runs on the standard original OEM Honda valve system that sits in the top of the exhaust, and it means that you can control the valve from the dashboard. Okay,
so I'm a BMW Porsche guy because that's all I've ever owned. Explain to me the exhaust again. What you've done. So is it you've got the CATS OPF resonator back box?
Correct.
Okay, so then this is just
so there's no resonators in the centre, so it comes down from the CAT and then straight from the CAT back. It's a straight pipe all the way through to the back box.
Okay, wow, so that is going to be fruity.
It's not as bad as you think it might be. It can be noisy with the valves fully open, but if you put it into normal mode, the valves stay closed and it actually sounds very OEM.
So this morning I was thinking, I was watching a few Type R reviews and videos last night. With modern cars, they are just restricted now, and I was thinking, is there going to be much point doing kind of a few revs on camera? But I think it's going to be worth it now.
Without the exhaust, definitely not. They sound terrible. You'll be lucky if you can get any bark out of it at all, unless you're at full chat. It sounds okay, I like it. It's a nice mixture between not being too obnoxious, but also making it sound like it's a performance car.
Yeah. So I actually met Tim a few weeks ago for the Joe Achilles. Joe Achilles was doing an interview
for the Porsche Cup driver.
For the Porsche Cup driver at Podium. So that's when I met Tim. And he was like, just hop into the Type R and just see what you feel, see what you think about it. Because I haven't really been checking these out at all, I'll be honest. And I got inside, I opened the door. I've already said it on camera, but the red interior, the red seats, the red carpet, I love it. It just looks really cozy. There's something really cozy about it. And I know why they've done it, because it harks back to the older generations. But there's something about, I just want to take my shoes off and just kind of watch a movie or something. It just looks cozy. It feels like you're in a house. But the thing that really blew me away when I got in Tim's car was the gearbox. Now, I've driven a few manuals, including kind of the BMW manuals, and they've just never been that good, especially when I own a manual GT4. But the first thing I did was when I got in this was I tested the gearbox, and this feels exactly like the Porsche GT4 manual. It is notchy. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's notchy. It's short. That it feels really, really good, and that's when I realised that okay, this is going to be quite a special car. I look forward to you taking me out for a spin in this later because, yeah, I can tell this is going to be a proper driver's car. From the driver's side, back seats, massive, feels cozy in here. I love this. This is really, really cool. Got a digital dash as well. It's a really, really nice car. But let me just hop out. Oh, touch the horn. I think it's now a 40 grand car, which is the most.
It's 50 grand. It's 49.7.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. I was one of the lucky ones that got it at 46.5 before they bumped the price.
Bloody hell. Yeah, so I was actually on Auto Trader last night, and I think the cheapest one's around about 43 grand. But yeah, 50 grand brand new. It's pretty expensive now, but I think when you're in the 50 grand price bracket, that's when cars really do start getting quite serious. And so this for 50 grand, the reviews say it's an amazing car. I think that justifies the price, but we'll find out when we go for a drive. Oh, you can hear the valve opening and closing. there's a 3,500 rev limiter on there, isn't there?
Yeah, it's standard. You basically do this. That's it. It won't rev any more than that. It's static.
Right, so the in-car driving footage has been corrupted, so all you've got is just the imagery to look at. A little bit annoying as well because Tim's car actually had an amazing amount of whooshing from the engine bay whenever you let off the throttle, that even Venturi intake that he had doing its thing. But the silver lining though is that because of the corrupt audio, I get to talk to you properly about the passenger and driving impressions of the car. Now firstly, if you're not already, please do subscribe if you're enjoying this type of content. And I want to say a big shout out and thank you to Tim for firstly, not only giving me the time of his day to let me film his Honda for my channel, but also letting me get behind the wheel and experience it for myself. Now, as I said at the beginning, my Jack car knowledge is weak. I'm not afraid to admit it, and hey, you know, we're all here to learn, and I'm just wanting to showcase my journey and my experience in cars. So with that being said, the car was actually mega to drive. From a positive point of view, we have the shifter, and like I said, it was super notchy and a super short throw like my GT4. Now this made it really, really fun pulling out of junctions, flooring it and shifting it. The car was dumping all of its power to the front wheels, which was quite an interesting experience for me. I'd never experienced that before. Having that kind of steering wheel wriggle around in my right hand as I've got my left hand on the shifter to kind of shift and prepare to kind of slot it into the next gear. That was an amazing experience and I actually found that really enjoyable. As I also said, the whooshing sounds from the engine bay made it really fun when flooring it and letting off the throttle. So I just kept doing that the whole time whilst I was driving the car, just kind of listening to the whooshing sounds, letting off, shifting. It just made for a really good driving experience. I think the biggest negative I had with the car was how goddamn wide it was. Some of the cars when we were going down some of the country lanes couldn't get past Tim when he was driving it, so we had to pull to the side, let those cars go past. So for it being a front-engined hatch, it actually felt more like the size of a BMW M4. The thing has actually gotten quite big. Now Tim also has a GR Yaris, so you'll have to wait and see for that video to come out when I get to eventually test it and compare it against this Honda Civic Type R. But I think if you're looking for that traditional front-engined, front-wheel drive manual hatch, this is the one. There aren't many cars left in this kind of lower down price bracket, if you want to call 50 grand lower down, that give you that driver's manual experience that I get from my GT4. But with the Civic Type R, you get that squiggly fun element as well. So with that in summary, I thoroughly approve of this car. I'm very much a fan, and I want to say a big shout out and thank you to you guys for watching, Tim for lending me the car once again. Please do like and comment and subscribe, and I'll see you later in the next one.